The cameras were rolling. Bright lights shimmered off the glass floor of the International Media Studio in Geneva. Journalists from over 50 countries had gathered for what was supposed to be a routine global leadership summit. But then something strange happened. A quiet man in a dark suit stepped through a side entrance. No press badge, no name tag, just one small envelope in his hand. He didn't go to the front desk. He walked straight to Captain Ibrahim Traoré, seated calmly under the lights, adjusting his mic. The man whispered something in his ear and slid the envelope under his palm. Cameras zoomed in. Reporters stood. Traoré froze just for a moment. His hands, usually steady, trembled slightly. The envelope had one golden seal, U.S. presidential, Trump's seal. Traoré looked around the studio. The room fell silent. Then, slowly, he opened it. He read the contents, folded the paper, looked directly into camera 3, and said just one word. No. Gasps. Chaos. Reporters screamed questions. But Traoré stood, walked off stage. No explanation. Not yet. But the world was about to find out. And it would never forget. News outlets scrambled. Breaking. Traoré publicly rejects Trump's private offer. Why did he say no? What was in the letter? Twitter exploded. CNN cut from commercial. Al Jazeera went live. TikTok and YouTube lit up with amateur lip readers trying to decode the moment. And the envelope? It had vanished. The organizers had no clue what was going on. Traoré's team was silent. But insiders began leaking whispers. Trump offered a secret deal. Something about mining rights in West Africa. It was supposed to stay off camera. They didn't think Traoré would say no. Not like that. By nightfall, speculation turned dark. Was Traoré threatened? Was the deal corrupt? Was this the start of something bigger? But still, not a single word from Traoré. Until a quiet press release appeared on Burkina Faso's official website. Just one sentence. We do not trade dignity for opportunity. Nothing more. But that line and those 9 words would set the internet on fire. People began crying. Some called him a hero. Others wanted answers. But no one, not even Trump, was prepared for what came next. 2 days later, a clip leaked. It wasn't a video, it was audio, grainy, shaky, recorded in what sounded like a hotel room. But the voices were clear. Donald Trump, a translator, a third voice, firm, unmistakably African. Captain Traoré. In the recording, Trump speaks first. We want to invest heavily. Billions. All we ask is for access and a bit of silence about certain operations. The translator repeats it in French. Then Traoré responds. You mean silence while people suffer? Trump chuckles. That's not your concern. Think bigger. Think legacy. Then the file ends. No confirmation it was real. But it didn't matter. The internet believed it. The emotion was already spreading like wildfire. Women in tears on live streams. Children drawing pictures of Traoré holding back storms. Commentators calling him the last honest man in power. Inside Africa, radio hosts wept. In Europe, people began organizing support marches. But in Washington, a storm was brewing, because Trump wasn't done yet, and Traoré had just begun. 3 days passed. The world waited. Every headline screamed Traoré's name. But still, no press conference, no interviews, just silence. Inside the presidential quarters in Ouagadougou, Traoré sat with his inner circle. No cameras, no lights, just truth. He hadn't planned to reveal what Trump offered. He hoped dignity would be enough. But now, pressure was building. Rumors were turning into poison. A trusted advisor, Mariam, leaned forward and whispered, Captain, they think you rejected wealth, but they don't know why. You must show them. Traoré looked out the window. Outside, children played soccer on dusty streets. No shoes, no clean water. He turned back, eyes filled with a kind of fire only pain can create. "I didn't say no because of money," he said softly. "I said no because I saw what it would cost us." And that night, he made a decision. He would speak, but not just to reporters, not just to politicians. He would speak directly to the people, through the same global network that tried to silence his refusal. The next day, his office booked a prime-time global slot, and the world watched as the countdown began. The countdown hit 0. A golden studio filled the screen, modern, bright, clean. Anchors whispered, lights dimmed, and then he appeared. Captain Ibrahim Traoré, standing alone behind a transparent podium. No flags, no music, just one man and his words. He looked into the camera, not just at it, like he was speaking to every single person's soul. "When I was a boy," he began, "I once stood in line for water with my mother. The tap ran dry before we reached it. She turned to me and said, 'Never beg the hand that holds the pipe.'" He paused. The studio was silent. "Last week I was offered the pipe, gold, infrastructure, security guarantees, all in exchange for silence. Silence while others took what's under our feet. Silence while children die thirsty. Silence while our voices are buried under money." Traoré's voice didn't shake. It burned. "I did not say no to Trump because I hate America. I said no because my people are not for sale." Some viewers cried. Others clapped. Many just stared. But as the live feed ended, one thing was clear. This wasn't just about a letter anymore. It was about who still had a soul in politics. Just hours after Traoré's speech, a mysterious clip leaked online. It wasn't polished. It looked like security footage, grainy, shaky, without sound. But the date was stamped, 3 days before the summit. And the men in the video? Donald Trump, a translator, 2 Western businessmen, 1 African leader in military green, Captain Traoré. Though muted, their gestures told a story. Trump leaned in, smiling, pointing to a binder. The translator spoke. One of the businessmen pulled out a document, pages thick, stamped with foreign investment logos. He flipped to a page showing satellite images of Burkina Faso, zoomed into copper fields, lithium deposits, untouched land. Trump laughed, patted Traoré's back. Then suddenly, Traoré stood. He didn't yell, he didn't argue. He simply pushed the binder back. Slowly, he pointed to a small pin on his uniform, a map of Africa etched in gold. Then he walked away. The men watched, stunned. Someone, somewhere, had leaked this footage. No one knew who, but now the world saw it. Not just his words, his walk away. And it broke something open inside people. This was not politics. This was dignity, filmed in real time. The moment Traoré said no echoed across continents. News channels scrambled to understand. Social media exploded. Some called him a hero, others questioned his boldness. But in Burkina Faso, it was different. People poured into the streets. They carried pictures of Traoré, lit candles and sang songs of pride. Mothers held their children close, whispering, "Our leader stood up for us." Yet behind closed doors, the tension grew. Powerful diplomats made urgent calls. Some urged Traoré to reconsider. Others warned of consequences. Yet Traoré remained calm. His resolve was unshaken. He held a private meeting with his closest advisors and said, "We stand not just for today, but for generations to come. We cannot trade our future for empty promises." But not everyone understood. Some foreign reporters painted him as reckless. Still, millions worldwide felt inspired. They saw in Traoré a leader who chose dignity over deals. The question on everyone's mind, what exactly did Traoré see in Trump's invitation that made him say no? Late at night, in a small room far from the limelight, Traoré sat beside his young daughter, Amara. She held his hand tightly, eyes wide and worried. "Papa, why did you say no to the man on TV?" she whispered. Traoré smiled gently, brushing a stray lock of hair from her face. "Amara, your papa made a promise to you and all children in Burkina Faso. A promise that their lives will be better, not sold away." Amara looked confused. Traoré continued, "Sometimes grown-ups offer shiny things, but they come with hidden costs, things we cannot pay with money." Her eyes filled with tears. "I want you to grow up free and happy," he said, voice breaking. Outside, the night was quiet, but inside that small room, a father's love and a leader's burden intertwined. That moment revealed the true heart behind Traoré's refusal, not politics, but love. Days after the broadcast, whispers began. Traoré's closest allies noticed strange phone calls, unusual surveillance. Some envoys warned, "The world is watching, but power does not like to be defied." In the shadows of the capital, Traoré received an anonymous message. It was simple: say yes or suffer the consequences. He folded the note carefully, a cold fire burning in his eyes. This was no longer just about a letter or an invitation. It was about courage and survival. But Traoré refused to back down. He told his team, "Fear is a tool for the weak. We stand firm because our cause is just." That night, as the city slept, a silent war of wills began, one that would test every fiber of Traoré's soul. The night air was thick with tension. Inside the presidential compound, Traoré's trusted aide, Moussa, sat alone, staring at his phone. Messages flooded in, some urgent, others threatening. Unbeknownst to Traoré, someone inside his own circle had been quietly sharing details of the private invitation with foreign agents. Not for money, but fear. Moussa's hands trembled. He loved his country, but the pressure was unbearable. Could he protect Traoré? Could he stand against the forces closing in? Meanwhile, Traoré prepared for his next move, a public address unlike anything he had done before. He wanted the world to see not just a leader who said no, but a man who carried the weight of millions on his shoulders. Moussa wiped tears from his eyes. He knew the betrayal wouldn't just hurt Traoré, it would shake the hopes of an entire nation. And yet, deep inside, he prayed his leader would forgive him one day. From the dusty villages to the bustling cities, ordinary people tuned in. Children gathered around cracked radios. Farmers paused their work. Women sat in circles, sharing stories of hope sparked by Traoré's courage. On every screen, his words replayed, "We are not for sale." Messages flooded social media from all corners of the globe. "Thank you, Captain. You give us pride. Your courage gives us strength." In the heart of Burkina Faso, a young teacher, Awa, cried as she told her students about Traoré's stand. She said, "One man's no can change the course of history." The world was listening, but the powerful few who lost influence were growing desperate. They plotted to silence the voice that had awakened millions. One evening, as Traoré walked home through the dim streets, an old friend appeared. A messenger, with a grave face, handed him a small envelope. No words. Inside, a single card read, "Last chance, accept the deal, or face ruin." Traoré's heart pounded, but his eyes remained steady. He folded the card carefully and looked to the stars above. He thought of his people, his family, his promises. His reply was clear: "I will never trade freedom for fear." That night, a silent storm gathered. The fight for truth was no longer just political. It was personal, and it would demand everything. Just when the pressure seemed unbearable, a surprising message arrived from an unlikely place. A former American diplomat, known for his integrity. He reached out quietly, offering support and a warning. "Captain Traoré, I have seen too many deals made in shadows. Your stand has shaken the very foundations. If you hold firm, I will do what I can to protect your voice. For Traoré, this was a beacon in the dark. He realized that even among the powerful, there were those who still believed in truth. That night he shared the news with his team. The hope in their eyes was palpable. This alliance was fragile but vital. It proved Traoré's message was reaching hearts beyond borders. But danger still loomed. The stakes had never been higher, and the fight was far from over. In the quiet hours before dawn, Traoré received heartbreaking news. His childhood village had been hit by a violent raid. Homes burned, families displaced. The attackers were linked to forces opposing his defiance. His heart shattered. He thought of the children who once ran barefoot in the dusty streets, children like Amara. Tears streamed down his face as he called for calm. "I will not be broken," he whispered to himself. His pain turned to steel. Traoré vowed to protect not only his nation, but the innocent lives threatened because of his courage. He spoke on national radio. "Every sacrifice we make today is for a future where our children can sleep safely. Our struggle is not in vain." Millions listened and cried. They saw not just a leader, but a father and protector. The weight of leadership was crushing, but Traoré stood taller than ever. The media studio buzzed again. This time, the world awaited Traoré's response to the attacks. He stood before the cameras, steady and unyielding. "I promise you this," he said, voice full of quiet strength. "No darkness will extinguish our light. We will rise from these ashes together." His words rippled across continents. Even distant leaders paused to listen. People across Africa and beyond felt a swell of pride and hope. But beneath the surface, Traoré's team prepared for what lay ahead. The storm was coming, bigger and fiercer. Yet the man who once stood alone now carried a whole continent's hope on his shoulders. And as the world watched, a new chapter was just beginning. The world watched as the pressure on Traoré reached a breaking point. Threats escalated, not just to him, but to his family and his people. One evening, as the sun dipped low, Traoré sat quietly with his wife and children. He saw the fear in their eyes, the same fear that had haunted him in moments alone. But instead of breaking, Traoré's resolve grew stronger. He thought of the millions relying on him. He whispered to his youngest, "We fight so your dreams are never stolen." The next day, he faced the cameras again. His voice was calm, but carried a fierce fire. "We will not bow. Our dignity is not for sale. Our future is ours to build." The room erupted in applause. Even those who opposed him were forced to respect the courage in his words. Traoré's no had become a global symbol of hope and honor. Following Traoré's unwavering stand, an unprecedented wave of support surged worldwide. Communities organized rallies in his name. Leaders from unexpected nations spoke out. Social media flooded with messages of solidarity. Children in schools drew pictures of Traoré holding a shining torch. But beyond the celebration was a sobering reality. The fight was far from over. Traoré received another message, this time from the people. A simple note from a young girl. "Thank you for saying no so we can say yes to our future." His heart ached and swelled with pride. He realized the battle wasn't just political. It was deeply personal for every man, woman, and child who believed in freedom. In a final heartfelt address broadcast worldwide, Traoré spoke not as a politician, but as a man with a dream. "My journey is not about me," he said, eyes glistening. "It's about all of us, our children, our land, our dignity." He promised to protect his people from hidden deals and to lead with honor. As his speech ended, the world felt a quiet shift, a sense that something had changed forever. Tears flowed freely across continents. His courage had sparked a flame that no darkness could extinguish. If this story moved you, please like, subscribe, and comment below. Tell us what part touched your heart the most. Join this community of hope and courage, because every voice matters. Your support fuels stories that change the world. Thank you for watching. And never stop believing in the power of one.